Well, hello and good day. This is Mandy from Knitting Madness, and I am going to be creating some tutorials for you today as per my Tutorial Tuesdays. And so I decided that I was going to show you the foundation single crochet, foundation half double crochet, and the foundation double crochet. Now, I know it can take a little bit more time than it would traditionally take to do just just your single crochet on a chain. But I'm going to show you how the single crochets and even the halves or doubles on when you're turning and stuff when you're working on a chain, how that looks. And then we will do the foundations to see, so you can see the difference. So first I'm gonna chain 10. 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then 1 for your turn. Now, some people just catch that top loop there and single crochet, and that gives you one look. Some people catch this loop and then they get that loop back there. And that gives a distinct look. As you can see, gives you kind of these little holes and gaps where it's just catching that top loop. Doesn't give you so much as a hole. There's also another way where you can catch that back loop, or as some designers call like the back bump, because if you feel your single crochet chain, and that one can be a bit trickier to get into, but because if you feel your chain, you should feel that little bump right there when you're holding it and feeling your chain. And that can give you a very distinct, different look, but gives you definitely that full look of a full crochet on the bottom. Now, working in that back bump is going to give you the most similar look to the foundation than doing the other two. See, this one, you can tell you just have kind of one loop there, and this one, it looks like there's one loop, but there might be two, but it kind of pushes that other one further back so it doesn't sit as neat as that. Do that one again where you just catch that top loop and stuff, how that other loop there is kind of way back there, so it doesn't give that same look there, and then when you catch both that little back bump loop and that front loop, that just gives you that single one, which can kind of give you some holes sometimes. So catching that back loop when doing your single crochets and turning and coming back down the chain is probably your most consistent to looking like the foundation. We're just going to go ahead and snip that off so that you have that to kind of look at. Here it is, catching both loops, how you kind of have that hole there. That's just going through the top loop, and then that's going in the back bump, or the back loop, or, however you want to call it. So to kind of give you a different view of how those look. Okay, so that's the single crochet. So now I'm going to show you what the single foundation crochet looks like so that you can get a better idea. And with the foundation chain, you do your slip knot, and then you chain 2. Okay? Now, instead of chaining, or, what you're going to do is essentially what you would do, turning and coming back down the chain. You're going to insert your hook into that first chain that you made, or second chain from the hook, and you're going to catch both of those loops. Okay, and then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, then you yarn over and you pull through 1. Okay, that is essentially your chain. This is your single crochet. So when you're doing the foundations, you're working both your single crochet chain at the same time. So see, there's the single crochet on the top, there's the chain stitch on the bottom. So then you just go back into that stitch you just made, making sure you have both loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. So see, you have 2 single crochets, you now have 2 chain stitches. And then you just repeat. So there's 2, so this will be 3. There's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have 9 single crochets on that end too. We'll do 1 more here. That's 10. And then ta-da! And then you would normally just chain and turn, and then you can just work your single crochets. And then ta-da, there's what you would consider your foundation and your single crochets. But if you look how neat that row looks and stuff. So let's go ahead and fasten that off. And look at the difference of them here together. So there's your foundation chain and 1 row crocheted together. And then here's the different styles of coming back on to that single crochet. So let's see if you check right here where we did the back bumps, how it looks most similarly to this. See those single crochets down there, that perfect chain look matches the same look as your single crochets on the top. It just gives you a very nice, neat looking cord, you know, via the difference of this. So there is the half double, or the single crochet. The single crochet chain, and then the turn, and then what it looks like with a foundation chain and a turn. So I like this look for a lot of projects. It just looks much neater and nicer. Works really great for working baby booties and stuff when you're working around the chain to come back down, or even working on like certain doll's feet that have you working around on both sides of the chain. This negates those holes that you can get sometimes, but I will explain that in a later video. Alright, so now we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you the half double. And we're going to change colors of yarn. And of course, today's videos doesn't matter what yarn you use or what size hook. I happen to just have an H hook, and I'm just using worsted weight red heart yarns. Just little scrap balls of yarn just to kind of have fun and play. So we're gonna do a half double, and we're gonna do 10. We're gonna do 10 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hello. All right. So here's our 10. Okay, and then for the half doubles, you add 2 to chain up. So you're gonna half double crochet in that third chain from the hook. And there again, just to show you how the differences look. There's going through both of those top loops and just having that single loop left down there. Okay, and here's just going through the top loop. As you can see with certain stitches how it pulls and gives you that weird look. Okay, so then here's working in that back bump. Like I said, it can be tricky sometimes to get in there. Hate it when hairs get stuck in your crochet. So then as you look, you know the difference. This is very similar to a foundation, and the rest of these give you kind of little holes or not quite the neatest to look. This is by far working into that little back bump or that back loop of your chain definitely gives you the nicest look compared to doing the other styles, but I still like the foundation chains the best for certain projects. So we're going to go ahead and finish this one off so that we can have that one in comparison next to doing the half double foundation. Now the half double foundation is going to start very similarly to the single crochet foundation. Okay, so you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and you're going to work back into that second chain from the hook. You're going to yarn over and insert your hook, yarn over, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through one of those loops so that you have your 3 loops on your hook for your half double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over and complete your half double the same way you normally would. So then you yarn over and then you reinsert into those 2 loops that you had just made off of that first one. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 1 loop on the hook. And that's going to be that stitch you're going to work back into after you finish this half double crochet. So you yarn over and pull through all 3. So yarn over and then insert back into that first stitch you made, and you yarn over and pull through. You have the 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through 3. And there you have 3. And as you have more practice with it and stuff, it'll get easier and you can go faster once you kind of get that rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 more. And there you go, there's 10. And then you would just do your chain 2 and turn. Now when I turn, I tend to work right back into this, and I don't count these chains as my next stitch, just because I have a tendency to either miscount or forget that chain stitch. So then of course I end up having decreases I didn't want, and things don't look even, and they kind of start tapering in and stuff like that. So I tend to do that as just a personal preference, to just never count my chain ups as a stitch, even if the pattern says that they do, unless I'm working it around for certain things. I really just don't count it. So 9, 10, and there we have it. Foundation with a turn. As you can see, the nice, neat look that you get compared to where you're going through both loops, just the top loop, and then when you go in the back loop. The different looks of what you can do with just your chain, and then turning and working back along your chain, as to doing your foundation and then working a turn on it. So there's that one. Okay, and so now we're going to do the double. So again, I'm going to show you what a double looks like with just your chain and working a turn on the double, to what it essentially will look like when you do the foundation. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3 for the turn, yarn over and come back in the fourth hook, or the fourth chain from the hook. So 1, 3, and there's hit it when the yarn doesn't want to behave. And see, as you'll notice, working through both on the double and the half double doesn't give you such a bad, look here on the end. It doesn't make such a big hole, but working with that, and that's going through both loops. Now working where you go just through that top hole, or that top loop, it gives you kind of this ugly hole when doing the bigger stitches and stuff. As you can see, it gives you kind of that very noticeable hole there. Okay, and now we're going to work in that back. And see there again. This is working in that back bump. It gives you kind of that very nice finished edge there. It still doesn't give you quite the holes as the other ones, and it's still very neat. And then here, when you're working just in that top, how, you know, as your work stretches or as you're working, you kind of get these very noticeable holes. And then when you go through the top too, you just have that very kind of singled loop down there, which doesn't give very a nice finish, and you're definitely going to want to put a border on anything that you work with doing that one. Same with this one. That one gives a nice enough finish that you don't necessarily have to work a border, but if you do, it definitely gives you a solid, you know, 2 loops to work into, which can make it a little easier, a little nicer on these finished projects when done. Okay, so now we're going to do the double crochet foundation. Again, we're going to do 10 stitches so you can see that. Now, unlike the single foundation crochet chain and the half double, the double crochet, you're going to work with 3 chains to start. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then you yarn over and you're going to come back into that 3rd chain. Okay, making sure that you pick up both of those loops. Yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over, pull through 1. So then you have your 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there is your double crochet, because there's your double crochet stitch, and there would essentially be what your chain stitch is. Yarn over and you go back into that stitch you just made down there. Yarn over and pull through, then yarn over, pull through 1, and then finish your double crochet as normal. Okay, so there's 2. And there's 3. Four. 5. 6. 8. 9. 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there's your 10 there, and your 10 there. Then you do your chain up 3 and turn as normal. Then you just work back down. And then there's 10 double crochets on your foundation chain and your turn there. And fasten off and take a look. Alrighty. So there's 10 foundation double crochets with a 10 double crochets on top. As you can see, even on most of these, when you're working a chain and coming back and turning, most of them want to bend or bow or twist or turn, whereas the foundation, once you get that first foundation started and then start working the next rows and stuff like that, it flattens and it sits much, much neater. It just sits flatter. It doesn't have that tendency to curl or roll on you, and it just looks so much neater. And I tend to work these stitches, it's really amazing. Like if you just do the start and then you can join it around, but I usually use this to start doing like my cup sleeves. I've used the foundations and stuff to work headbands to get the width that I want, and then I work the length and then join them together. It gives a really neat look. You can also get a really nice kind of elasticy kind of ridge look if you work on the back loops of every row. When you do that, so when you once you do your foundation and then turn, you work in your back loop, which, you'd work here coming back down, and then when you turn, you'd work in the back loop on the way back, and it gives you kind of this really nice, kind of a accordion ridged look on your headbands, but it also gives you kind of this nice stretch and kind of bounce back, almost like making elastic without, with crochet rather than using the actual elastic. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. More videos will be on their way. Sorry, I sound a little horrible. I've had a cold. So, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you later. Happy crocheting!